The storm over Oshun IV had teeth. Dust and static bit through the air like whispers of ghosts, wrapping Indari Station in an ochre haze. Captain Malik Osei tightened his respirator, his boots sinking into red soil that shimmered faintly under the twin suns. The ground cracked like dry lips, thirsting for rain that hadn't come in months. He shouldn't have been out here alone. Regulations forbade human officers from crossing the border zones without escort, but Malik had never been the kind to watch suffering from behind a screen. The distress signal had come faint and broken, a bio-sign anomaly, maybe a dying animal. But something in it had felt wrong, too deliberate, too human. The wind howled. Malik's scanner blinked weakly until it found her. She was crumpled beside a boulder, her chitinous skin fractured and pale. The alien mother's body looked like it had been sculpted from obsidian and bone, elegant, fragile, trembling. Her mandibles clicked weakly as she tried to shield a small, motionless bundle pressed to her chest. "Hey, easy," Malik said, kneeling slowly. His voice carried a calm he didn't feel. "You're safe now." Her black eyes blinked wide and glistening. She didn't understand his words, but she recognized tone, mercy wrapped in sound. Malik reached for the ration pouch clipped to his belt. The human food tablet was small, nutrient-dense, designed for soldiers, not aliens. Still, he broke it in half and extended it toward her. Her antennae quivered. Hunger warred with fear. Then, cautiously, she took it. The transformation was instant. As she swallowed, her trembling eased. Her breath steadied. A faint glow, bioluminescence, flickered beneath her skin, faint but real. She looked down at her child, then back at Malik, a low, resonant hum vibrating through the air between them. He didn't know what it meant, but it felt sacred. Malik exhaled, kneeling deeper into the dust. "You're going to be okay," he murmured, though he wasn't sure. "You and your kid both." The radio on his shoulder crackled. Lieutenant Jalen's voice cut through the static. "Cap, where the hell are you? Command's been pinging your comm for 10 minutes. "Found something," Malik replied, his tone low. "An Ori, female, she's starving." "Ori?" Jalen's disbelief carried through the wind. "How you mean the same Ori Colony Command said was hostile? Malik, you can't—" "I already did," Malik said, glancing at the woman's face as she fed the last of the ration to her child. "She was dying. You think I'm supposed to just walk away?" There was silence, then a sigh. "Man, you always gotta play savior. Bring her in if you're coming back alive." "Cell prep quarantine." Malik lifted the alien gently. She weighed almost nothing, fragile as glass. Her child stirred faintly against her chest, a flicker of life. He started back toward Indari Station, his boots crunching through the dust. The suns dipped low, painting the wasteland gold and crimson. Each step echoed the same thought in his head. This wasn't supposed to happen. By the time he reached the airlock, his shoulders burned and his heart pounded. The medical crew stared when they saw what he carried. One of them whispered, "He brought an Ori inside?" Dr. Amara Nkomo appeared from the corridor, her white coat flowing like a flag of reason. "Malik, tell me you didn't violate contact protocols again." He set the alien mother down on the gurney. "She would have died out there. Her child, too." Amara studied him, then the alien. "Compassion can get you court-martialed." Malik smiled faintly. "Then I'll face it standing." The alien reached toward him, her hand, 3 thin, translucent fingers, resting briefly on his glove. A hum filled the room, soft and melodic. Everyone froze. "She's thanking you," Amara murmured, awe softening her voice. "They don't do that. Not to humans." Malik met the alien's gaze. "Maybe we've just never given them a reason." Outside, the sun sank behind the dunes, and the world fell quiet. The next morning, nothing would be the same. If you're drawn into this story of humanity's strength and compassion, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. More powerful tales like this await you in the next chapter. Indari Station didn't sleep that night. Word spread faster than light that Captain Malik Osei had brought an alien inside, an Ori, no less. By dawn, the corridors buzzed with whispers. Some called him reckless, others called him a hero. Malik sat outside the quarantine lab, hands clasped, elbows on his knees. Through the observation glass, Dr. Amara Nkomo moved carefully around the containment bed. The alien mother, Aya, as Amara had started calling her, was recovering slowly. The child still hadn't opened its eyes. Jalen approached with 2 steaming cups of Koro root brew. "You look like you've been dragged through 3 suns and a dust storm," he said, handing one over. "Feels about right," Malik muttered, taking the cup. The bitter aroma steadied him. "Command sent a message?" "Yeah, they want a report and they're not happy." Jalen leaned against the wall, lowering his voice. "You fed a classified species, broke 6 regs. They'll want to make an example of you." Malik's jaw tightened. "Let them. If compassion's illegal, they'll have to write a new law." Jalen chuckled softly. "You and your speeches, man. Do you ever think about lying low just once?" Malik didn't answer. His gaze drifted back to the alien. Her breathing was steadier now. The child's chest rose and fell in shallow rhythm. Amara stepped out of the decontamination chamber, pulling off her gloves. "Vitals are stabilizing. Her physiology is unlike anything we've catalogued. They process nutrients through a symbiotic organ, almost like a living filter. Your ration might have saved both of them." Malik nodded slowly. "So they'll live." "For now," Amara said. "But she keeps asking for something. I ran a translation pattern through her vocal frequencies. The word she repeats, it means promise." Jalen frowned. "Promise? What promise?" Amara looked at Malik. "Maybe the one you made without realizing it." The comm unit on the wall chirped. "Captain Osei, report to command deck immediately." Malik sighed, set down his cup and rose. "Guess the trial begins early." The command deck loomed like judgment. Commander Imani Adeyemi waited at the center console, her eyes sharp as a plasma blade. "Captain Osei," she said, her voice even but heavy. "Do you understand the severity of what you've done?" "Yes, ma'am. You endangered this base, violated the non-contact protocol, and brought an unknown organism into human space. Explain yourself." Malik stood firm. She was dying. She had a child. Leaving them there would have been murder. Imani's brow furrowed. "You are not authorized to make moral calls in place of the Federation Council." "With respect, Commander," he said quietly, "the Federation wasn't the one looking into her eyes." A long silence followed. The crew at the consoles avoided looking up. Finally, Imani spoke. "You'll remain confined to quarters until further notice. Dr. Nkomo will monitor the subjects. If contamination spreads, responsibility falls on you." "Yes, ma'am." He turned to leave, but her voice stopped him. "Captain, why risk everything? For an alien that might never understand what you did?" Malik paused. "Maybe understanding isn't the point." Back in the corridor, Jalen caught up to him. "House arrest, huh? That's better than a firing squad." Malik smiled faintly. Small victories. They walked in silence until they reached the observation deck. Beyond the glass, Oshun 4 stretched like a burning jewel, its atmosphere rippling in gold and amber. Malik placed his hand on the window. "You ever wonder if we were meant to do more than just survive out here?" Jalen shrugged. "Survival's all command cares about." "Yeah," Malik said softly. "But maybe survival isn't living." Behind them, alarms flickered briefly. Amara's voice echoed over the comm, tense but controlled. "Malik, you need to see this. The Ori mother, she's awake." Malik and Jalen exchanged a glance. The hum of the station deepened, like it was holding its breath. Something was changing. Malik entered the quarantine lab to find Amara standing beside the containment bed, her expression taut with disbelief. Aya, the alien mother, was sitting upright now, her translucent skin pulsing with light that shimmered in soft, rhythmic waves. Her eyes, black and glass-like, fixed on Malik the moment he stepped in. "She asked for you," Amara said quietly. Repeated the same pattern of sounds, your name or the closest thing she can make of it. Malik moved closer, his heart beating harder than he wanted to admit. The child still slept, its small limbs curled beneath its mother's arms. "Can she understand us now?" Amara shook her head. "Not yet, but she's learning fast. Her neural scans show accelerated adaptation. It's like her mind's rewriting itself in real time. Aya tilted her head, mandibles parting slightly. A soft, melodic hum filled the air, a vibration that resonated more in Malik's chest than in his ears. She placed one hand on her chest, then extended it toward him. Malik hesitated before mirroring the gesture. "Aya," he said gently, repeating the name Amara had given her. "Malik." The alien's glow brightened, flickering through shades of gold. She touched her forehead to the containment field, and Malik instinctively pressed his palm to the glass in front of her. The hum deepened, becoming layered, harmonic, almost like a song. Amara watched, speechless. That frequency, it's structured, purposeful. She's trying to communicate, maybe even share emotion. Malik frowned. "You can feel it too, can't you?" "Yes," Amara whispered. "It's peaceful, warm." The door slid open behind them. Commander Imani stood there, flanked by 2 security officers. Her tone carried the weight of command and exhaustion. "Step away from the containment field, Captain." Malik turned. "Commander, she's stable." "There's no threat." "That's not your call to make anymore," Imani said. "Central Command has ordered her transfer to Research Wing 4. They'll study her physiology before she's relocated." "Relocated," Malik repeated. "You mean dissected?" Imani's jaw tightened. "Don't make this harder than it already is. She's not one of us, Malik. You know what's at stake. Biosecurity, political backlash, the peace accords." "Peace built on fear isn't peace," he shot back. "You didn't see what I saw out there. She's more than a specimen." Aya's glow dimmed as she sensed the tension. Her hum faltered into low vibrations that rippled across the air. Malik's breath caught as he realized she was frightened. Amara stepped forward. "Commander, if we rush this, we risk losing a chance for first contact based on trust instead of force. Let me keep her under observation until we understand more." Imani exhaled sharply, then gestured to her officers to stand down. "You have 48 hours, Doctor. After that, she's moved under Federation jurisdiction. Is that understood?" Amara nodded. Malik said nothing. When the door closed again, the silence felt heavy. Aya looked at him, her luminous eyes unblinking. She placed a hand over her chest once more and whispered something faint. Amara's translator picked up fragments. "Heart, safe. Promise." Malik swallowed. "She remembers." "She's binding you to that act," Amara murmured. "You gave her food, but what she took was faith." Malik turned toward the window. Beyond the reinforced glass, Oshun IV glowed beneath the station's orbit, storms rolling across the surface like veins of lightning. "If Command takes her, they'll turn her into a weapon or a warning." Amara folded her arms. "Then maybe it's time someone rewrites the rules." Malik looked back at Aya. Her hum returned softer now, almost like a lullaby. The air felt charged, not just with sound, but with meaning. Somewhere deep within the station, unseen systems flickered, as if something unseen had begun to awaken in response. Malik didn't sleep that night. He paced his quarters, the low hum of Indari Station pressing in from every wall. The digital clock blinked its quiet reminder. 47:58:09. The countdown until Aya's transfer. He stared at the numbers until they blurred. When morning came, Jalen was waiting by the observation deck, sipping from a tin mug. "You look like hell, Captain," he said. "Feel worse," Malik muttered. "Command's clock is ticking." Jalen nodded slowly. "You ever think maybe you're fighting a battle that's already lost? The Federation doesn't change, Malik. It consumes." Malik leaned on the railing, gazing out at the planet below. "Maybe. But every system that feeds on fear eventually chokes on it." Down in the lab, Amara was already running scans. Her hair was tied back and fatigue framed her eyes. "She's responding to stimuli," she said as Malik entered. "Her child's vitals are improving too. The nutrient blend I synthesized from your ration worked better than I expected." Aya was humming again, low, soft, pulsing in steady rhythm. The air around her seemed to vibrate faintly, as though her very presence shifted the atmosphere. "She knows the countdown's happening," Malik said quietly. "You can see it in her eyes." Amara adjusted her lenses. Her species appears empathic. They sense energy patterns, maybe emotional fields too. That could explain how she connected with you so fast. Then she can feel fear. Amara looked at him. Maybe more than that. Maybe she can feel hope. The door slid open and Commander Imani stepped inside with 2 officers. "I'm here for a status update," she said. Her tone was professional, but her posture betrayed tension. "How stable is the subject?" "Alive, responsive," Amara replied, "but she's not a threat." "That's not your decision, Doctor." Malik folded his arms. "Commander, you ever wonder what happens if we keep treating every unknown as an enemy?" "What that teaches our children." Imani's expression didn't waver. "My job is to keep this station safe, Captain. Idealism doesn't stop contamination or rebellion." Aya's hum deepened, like a resonant warning. Everyone paused. Lights flickered once overhead. Amara frowned at her console. "That frequency again. She's reacting to emotional stress. If you keep this up, we'll destabilize her vitals." Imani's lips tightened, but she nodded to her officers to withdraw. 40 hours. After that, Federation custody. She turned to leave, then hesitated. "You think you're saving her, Malik. I think you're just delaying the inevitable." When the door shut, Malik exhaled slowly. "She doesn't believe it's possible, Amara." "None of them do." Amara gave him a weary smile. "Belief isn't protocol, Malik. It's rebellion. Maybe that's why it scares them." He stepped closer to the containment field. Aya raised her head, antennae twitching as if sensing his thoughts. "Aya," he said softly, "they're taking you away soon. But I promise, you won't be alone." Her black eyes reflected the light of the lab, 2 mirrors of infinite depth. She touched her hand to her chest again, and her hum shifted into a delicate melody. Malik didn't understand the words, but the emotion hit him like a wave. Gratitude mixed with sorrow. Amara recorded the sound, her voice trembling. "She's communicating intent through harmonics." "She's not just speaking, she's praying." Malik turned to her. "For what?" Amara hesitated. "Maybe for faith in us." Silence filled the lab, thick and alive. The hum of the station seemed to echo her tone, faintly aligning with her frequency. Malik looked up, uneasy. "Did the systems just—" Amara checked her monitors. "Every environmental regulator just synced with her pulse rhythm for 3 seconds. That's impossible." Malik met her gaze. "Or it's just beginning." The countdown clock outside ticked on, 39:22:15, its red digits pulsing in the same rhythm as Aya's song. By the next rotation, the entire station could feel it. The hum. It wasn't loud, not even audible in the traditional sense, but it lived inside the metal, a vibration that seemed to breathe with the structure itself. Some swore they heard it whisper their names in the dark. Others said it sounded like home. Malik found himself standing in the corridor outside the quarantine lab long after shift hours. The lights dimmed for night cycle, but the air pulsed faintly with that rhythm. Aya's rhythm. Amara's voice startled him. "You feel it too, don't you?" He turned. She was holding a portable scanner, its display dancing with unfamiliar patterns. "It's everywhere," she said almost reverently. "Every sensor is showing resonance." Her frequency has synced with the station's life support grid. Malik frowned. "You're saying she's inside the system?" "Not intentionally," Amara said. "It's like her presence harmonized with the station's energy. She's not attacking. It's communication, a biological network talking to a mechanical one." Malik crossed his arms. "Command's not going to see it that way." "Command doesn't see much at all." She smirked, exhaustion softening into defiance. "But I'm recording everything. If we can prove this isn't a threat, maybe we can keep her safe." The door hissed open, revealing Aya and her child within the containment field. The infant was awake now, its skin glowing faint blue, faintly pulsing with the same hum. Aya's eyes locked onto Malik immediately. She tilted her head, and for the first time a shape formed in the sound, an almost human tone, fragmented, struggling to form words. "Eek." Malik froze. "Did she just—" Amara nodded slowly, her breath catching. "Say your name, yes." He stepped closer to the glass. "Aya, I'm here." She raised her hand, pressing it against the field. "Safe," she whispered, the syllables fragile but clear. "Safe. Promise." Amara's eyes shimmered. She's learning faster than anything I've ever seen. Her mind must adapt on a quantum level. Malik couldn't help but smile. "She trusts me." "Maybe too much," Amara said softly. "That kind of trust, it comes with expectations." The intercom cracked, Commander Imani's voice cutting through the fragile quiet. "Captain Osei, Dr. Nkomo, report to the command deck immediately." Malik's shoulders tensed. "Here it comes." When they arrived, the room was alive with tension. Tactical screens glowed red. A sensor officer reported, "Unidentified life readings approaching the perimeter, non-human biosignatures, hundreds of them." Imani's face hardened. "RE ships." "Not ships, ma'am," the officer said. "Organic, ground movement. They're gathering outside the perimeter shield on the surface below." Amara's heart skipped. Her colony. Malik felt the truth settle heavy in his chest. "They came for her." Imani turned sharply. "You think she called them?" "No," Amara said. "Not consciously. But the resonance, we've been broadcasting her frequency into orbit for hours. They followed the song." The commander swore under her breath. "Prep defense protocols. No contact until we assess intent." Malik stepped forward. "Commander, if we raise weapons, we'll start a war." Imani's gaze was iron. "If we don't, we might invite one." The room trembled faintly, the same pulse they'd been feeling, but now it was deeper, stronger, alive. Malik looked out the viewport. The dust storms below glowed faintly blue, dotted with flickers of moving light. "They're not attacking," he whispered. "They're waiting." "Waiting for what?" Jalen asked from the console. Malik's eyes found the planet below, his voice low. "For her signal, for her word." Imani crossed her arms. "Then we better hope your alien friend stays quiet." But even as she spoke, the station lights dimmed once more, and through the floor came a hum so deep it made the air quiver. Aya was singing again, and this time the entire planet was answering. The station trembled with every pulse. Monitors flickered as waves of electromagnetic interference rippled through Endari's systems. Technicians shouted over alarms, trying to stabilize the power grid, but Malik barely heard them. All he could feel was the rhythm, the song. It wasn't chaotic. It was calling. Amara's fingers flew over the console. Her frequency has spread across every channel. Even the defense satellites are resonating. She's harmonized the entire orbital network. Commander Imani's voice was sharp. "Shut it down, now." Amara didn't stop. "If we force interruption, it could damage the reactors. The resonance is stabilizing our own systems now. She's healing the network." Imani glared. "How you expect me to believe an alien is fixing my station by singing to it?" Malik turned from the viewport. "Look outside, Commander." Below, Oshun IV glimmered like a living sea of light. Thousands of blue forms moved in unison across the dunes, gathering in a vast spiral that stretched for miles. It looked almost ritualistic, organized, deliberate. "They're not advancing," Malik said softly. "They're waiting." "For what?" Imani demanded. "For her," Amara answered. "For Aya." The commander's jaw clenched. "If they breach orbit, Federation fleets will respond. We'll be at war before sunrise." Malik stepped closer to her. "You don't understand. They're not here to fight. They're here because one of theirs was saved, because compassion speaks louder than fear." Imani shook her head. "You think empathy will stop them if they decide we're a threat?" Malik met her gaze. "Maybe it already has." Silence fell as Aya's hum rose again, lower now, deeper, filled with emotion that didn't need translation. Across the comms, static cleared for a moment, replaced by faint harmonics that synchronized every device aboard the station. Crew members paused mid-motion, transfixed. Jalen whispered, "It's like the whole station's breathing with her." Amara turned from her readings. "Malik, She's stabilizing external pressure, regulating oxygen flow, even power output. She's connecting life systems across human and alien frequencies. I don't know how, but she's building a bridge. Imani frowned, caught between awe and fear. Or she's taking control. The lights flickered once, then steadied. The hum softened into silence. Aya's glow faded from the containment chamber's sensors. Amara's eyes widened. She's gone offline. Malik's stomach dropped. What do you mean gone? The field's empty. Amara looked up from her console. She's not there. Security alarms blared. Containment breach detected in Lab Sector 3, a synthetic voice announced. Imani barked orders. Seal the corridors. Find her before she reaches the docks. But Malik wasn't listening. He could feel her presence, not through sight or sound, but through that deep pulse inside his chest. He ran through the corridors, the vibration guiding his steps like instinct. He found her in the airlock chamber, standing before the sealed hatch, her child in her arms. Her form glowed softly against the dark metal. She turned as he entered, her expression unreadable but calm. Aya, Malik said, breathless. You can't go out there. The surface... She raised one hand, placing it gently against his chest. The hum returned, steady and low. Words formed through the translator, fragmented but unmistakable. Not, go call family, come. Malik shook his head. If you open that airlock, they'll see it as a threat. They'll fire. Her eyes softened. Trust. You promise. He froze. Her voice carried no fear, only certainty. Behind him, Amara's voice echoed through his comm. Malik, don't let her open that door. Command's targeting the surface. They're about to... A thunderous pulse cut through the station. The lights died, and for a moment, every system fell silent. Then, outside the viewport, the Auri colony below ignited in radiant blue, their formation shifting like a heartbeat in the dark. The emergency lights flickered back to life, washing the corridor in blood-red glow. Malik staggered, pressing his hand to the wall as the vibration rolled through his bones. Outside, the viewports burned blue, thousands of Auri clustered across the dunes, their luminous bodies pulsing in perfect rhythm with Aya's hum. Over the comms, Commander Imani's voice cracked through static. Power fluctuation detected across every deck. Report, now. Amara's voice followed, tight with panic. It's not an attack. The Auri are transmitting an energy wave, non-destructive. They're stabilizing our failing systems. Malik turned toward the airlock where Aya stood. You're doing this, he said softly. You're helping us. Her mandibles clicked faintly, the translator struggling to keep up. Together and strong, alone. Die. Malik's throat tightened. That's your message. Aya nodded once, then looked toward the planet below, her child stirring in her arms. The infant's bioluminescence brightened, weaving golden strands through its mother's blue glow. For a moment, Malik swore he could feel the energy between them. Life not as biology, but as rhythm. Amara's voice cut in again. Malik, the commander's about to authorize defensive measures. If she fires on the surface, I won't let her, he said, and sprinted toward the lift. The command deck was chaos. Officers shouted across flickering consoles, the hum of the Auri vibration merging with the alarms. Imani stood at the central terminal, her jaw set. Weapon systems primed, she ordered. If those creatures breach the atmosphere, we defend this base. Commander, Malik shouted. They're not breaching, they're synchronizing. Look at the readings. Imani's glare could have cut steel. You've been compromised by sentiment, Captain. This is containment protocol. Containment? Malik stepped forward, his voice rising. You mean extermination? They're not invaders. They're answering a call. You saw the data. Energy output stabilizing, radiation levels dropping. They're fixing the damage we caused when we mined this planet. Imani hesitated for the first time, her expression flickering with doubt. Even if that's true, we can't risk them overwhelming the station. They don't want to destroy us, Malik said. They want to connect. The room trembled again, this time softer, gentler, almost like a heartbeat. The hum shifted pitch, turning melodic. It wasn't mechanical anymore. It was a chorus. Every screen on the bridge lit with blue light. Images formed across the holographic displays, Ori figures moving in patterns that mirrored constellations, ancient and precise. It was art. A message. Amara's voice came through the comm again, awed and trembling. They're broadcasting a visual translation. Commander, it's language, mathematical, harmonic, emotional. They're showing us memory. The room fell silent as the holograms sharpened. The Ori world, once green and bright, faded into desolation. Famine, drought, and silence followed. Then came the humans, landing ships, resource extraction, drills tearing through sacred ground. The final image, Aya, clutching her dying child beneath a ruined sky. Imani stepped back, her face pale. Dear God. Malik's voice was low. Now you understand why she came to us starving, why she still trusts us enough to sing instead of strike. The light dimmed, leaving the crew in stunned quiet. Outside, the Ori formation shimmered, their song softening into something almost mournful. Imani looked at Malik, then the planet. If they wanted revenge, they had every reason. Malik nodded, but they chose faith instead. Her hand hovered over the weapons console before she withdrew it. Stand down all batteries. Maintain orbit. The alarms faded. The hum remained steady and alive like a heartbeat shared between worlds. For the first time since the colonization of Oshun 4, the air aboard Ndari Station felt alive. Malik looked through the viewport, whispering to himself, maybe this is what peace sounds like. The next hours unfolded like a fragile dream. The alarms were silent now, the hum reduced to a steady pulse beneath every step. Ndari Station floated in perfect calm above a planet that no longer raged. The Ori light still burned below, spiraling like a living constellation, but there was no threat, only waiting. Malik stood beside the viewport, his reflection faint against the ocean of stars. You feel that? He asked quietly. Amara joined him, arms folded, gaze thoughtful. For the first time in months, the radiation levels are stable. The storms are subsiding. Whatever they're doing down there, it's restoring balance. He turned toward her. You think this is what she meant by together strong? Amara nodded. Maybe their survival isn't just about biology. Maybe it's symbiotic. Between worlds, between species. Her song healed the planet because it connected everything that was broken. The comm unit chimed. Commander Imani's voice carried a strange softness now. Captain Osei, Dr. Nakoma, report to the lab. You should see this. When they arrived, Aya was awake again, her glow faint but steady. The infant lay nestled against her chest, breathing in rhythm. Imani stood a few feet away, unarmed, her expression unguarded for once. She's asking for you, the commander said quietly. Malik stepped forward. Aya? The alien's gaze lifted to him. Her mandibles clicked softly before the translator activated. Safe. World safe. Malik smiled. Because of you. Aya tilted her head, studying him. Because you fed me. The words landed heavier than he expected. A memory flashed. The storm, the ration, the trembling hands. He had thought it a small act. She remembered it as salvation. You remembered my promise, he said. Her glow brightened faintly. Promise keeps life. Amara's eyes glistened. Malik, her neural readings are stabilizing. She's communicating on human frequency now. She's adapting completely. Imani exhaled. We owe her an apology. Malik looked back at her. Then give her one. The commander hesitated, then took a small step forward. Aya, we were afraid. We didn't understand. I'm sorry for what we've done to your people. Aya blinked slowly, processing the words. Her hum softened, layered with a new tone, acceptance. Understand now, she said. Learn. The translator rendered it imperfectly, but the meaning was clear. Amara leaned against a console, whispering, She forgave us before we even asked. Malik nodded. That's the difference between surviving and living. The station lights flickered briefly, then steadied. Outside, the Auri formation shifted again, expanding across the horizon. From orbit, their glowing lines formed the unmistakable outline of two hands reaching toward each other, one human, one alien. Imani stared, speechless. "They're sending a message." Amara smiled. Their promise returned. Malik watched in silence. The blue glow of the planet illuminated his face, and for the first time since arriving at Endari, he felt the weight lift from his shoulders. "They're not here for war. They're here for remembrance." "Remembrance?" Amara echoed. He nodded slowly. "When I found her, she wasn't just starving for food. She was starving for proof that compassion still existed." Aya's child stirred, tiny limbs reaching toward the glass. Malik pressed his palm against the field, mirroring the motion. The hum responded instantly, wrapping the moment in warmth. Amara whispered, "The resonance is syncing with your heartbeat again." He smiled faintly. Maybe it never stopped. Outside, the twin suns of Oshun 4 rose over the horizon, casting the Ori in gold. The colony began to move, retreating slowly into the dunes. Their song faded, leaving silence that felt sacred. Imani broke it with a quiet voice. "Where are they going?" Aya looked toward the window, her voice soft as wind. "Home." Malik's chest tightened. "And us?" She turned back to him. "Oshun too." The words hung in the air, heavy with truth. Word spread across the interstellar channels faster than any ship could travel. Endari Station, once a quiet outpost orbiting a forgotten terraformed moon, had become the epicenter of a story no one could have predicted. The Federation Council sent a secure transmission within hours. A diplomatic ship was already en route. Central Command demanded containment, silence, control. Malik stood in the war room, arms folded, staring at the flickering holomap. The Auri had vanished from the surface, their luminous spiral gone like mist. But their presence lingered, in the air, in the systems, in the minds of every crew member who'd felt the song. "They want an official statement," Jalen said, entering with a datapad. "Something sanitized, something that doesn't make "we fed an alien and her people loved us for it" sound like a policy failure. Malik smirked. "They're too late. The signal went interstellar. We don't get to erase this." Jalen lowered his voice. "They're scared, bro. Not of Aya, not even the Ori. They're scared that what you did worked, that connection, is contagious." Malik's smile faded. "Then let it spread." Amara walked in, face lit with quiet resolve. "Aya wants to speak, not just with us, with them, the diplomats, the generals, the rest of the galaxy." Malik nodded. "Then we give her the platform." The station's main communications array had never broadcast a message like this before. Aya sat in the center of the projection chamber, her child in her lap, both of them bathed in soft bioluminescence. Amara calibrated the translator, while Malik stood beside her, heart pounding. The feed went live. Across space, millions could now see what had once been hidden. Aya looked straight into the lens, her voice soft but unshaking. "We were dying, cold, alone, forgotten. But a human gave food, gave voice, gave heart." She paused, placing a hand on her chest. "We remember promise." Malik stepped forward. "And we remember yours. You could have attacked. You could have destroyed this station. Instead, you showed us harmony." Amara joined them, her voice strong. "We chose fear. You chose hope." The transmission echoed with silence for a breath. Then Aya continued. "We do not come to take. We come to heal, to share rhythm. We do not need weapons. We need remembering." Across Federation space, translators struggled to render her word. It wasn't just remembering. It was communion, a call to mutual recognition. Malik faced the lens, his expression steady. "Let this moment stand, not as an accident of mercy, but as a declaration. We are more when we listen. We are greater when we give, and we are human not because we conquer, but because we care." The feed cut. Silence. Jalen exhaled behind the control board. "That'll rattle some bureaucrats." Amara smiled faintly. "Good." Later that evening, Malik sat alone in his quarters, watching the planet below. The skies of Oshun IV shimmered gently, no longer writhing with storms. He didn't need scanners to know the Ori was still there, restoring, protecting, remembering. A chime at his door broke the silence. Imani entered without waiting for permission. Her posture had softened, but command still clung to her like a second skin. "You just broke every diplomatic code in the book," she said. Malik looked up. "Good evening to you too, Commander." She didn't smile, but her tone carried a hint of respect. "You realize what's coming now. Investigations, suspension, maybe worse." He nodded. "And I'll take all of it, but not one step of it back." She stood beside him for a long moment, then quietly, "Neither would I." They watched the planet in silence. Above it the stars pulsed faintly, like notes in a long-forgotten melody. Something had changed, and this time the universe was watching. The Federation's response came swift and cold. A communique arrived at 0300 hours, sterile, wrapped in diplomatic language and veiled threats. Malik read it once, then again, the words carving into his resolve like ice. "You are hereby relieved of duty pending formal tribunal review. Unauthorized contact with an unregistered species, release of classified transmission, and breach of first contact protocols." He closed the message and sat back in silence. His badge, black and silver with the Federation crest, lay heavy on the table. Jalen entered quietly, tossing a ration bar onto the desk. "Figured you'd forget breakfast. You read it?" Malik nodded. "They're calling it treason without using the word." Jalen dropped into the chair across from him. "Man, I've seen you fight off rogue AI swarms and walk through plasma storms, but you look shook now." Malik's voice was low. "Not for me. For what comes next. They want to make sure this moment doesn't repeat." Jalen tapped the edge of the badge. "Too late for that. People saw what happened. They felt it. The alien threat turned out to be a mother trying to keep her baby alive. The narrative's cracked, Malik. They can't uncrack it." Before he could respond, the station lights dimmed, not from interference, but from protocol. A red halo pulsed above every console. "Arrival incoming, Federation ship ID Remus." Amara's voice crackled through the comm. "They're early. Remus just entered orbit, docking within the hour." Malik stood. "They're not wasting time." "She's not coming alone," Amara added. "They've brought a tribunal magistrate and an enforcement unit. 5 soldiers in full armor." Jalen whistled. "Well, they're not just here to ask questions then." Malik tightened his uniform. "Let them come." By the time the tribunal landed, the crew had gathered quietly along the main corridor, eyes solemn, backs straight. They didn't speak, but their presence said everything. The Remus officers walked in perfect formation, armored and cold. Behind them came a woman in white robes, her face lined with the rigid calm of someone who'd signed death orders over tea. Magistrate Silas Nayar. She stopped in front of Malik, her voice like polished stone. "Captain Osei, you are charged with disobedience of protocol, dissemination of unapproved data, and compromising interspecies security." Malik met her gaze. "And saving a life." "Don't forget that part." Nayare didn't blink. "Come with us." Amara stepped forward. "You'll take him, but not his silence. We have every scan, every file. The truth is already out." Jalen added, "And we're not deleting it." One of the officers moved to restrain Malik, but Aya appeared at the end of the corridor. The child in her arms glowed golden now, pulsing in perfect resonance with the hum rising around them. Nayare froze. "That creature should not be—" Aya raised one hand. The hum deepened, not aggressive, but powerful, filled with memory. Around them the station trembled as every wall echoed her voice. "We remember, we choose peace." Her words came not just from her mouth, but from the very air. Screens lit with star maps drawn in blue light, her people's journey, their loss, their hunger, and the moment Malik offered her food. Malik stepped forward. "Tell me, Magistrate, if this is treason, then what's mercy?" Nayare stared at Aya, at the child, at the crew standing silent beside their captain. For a moment the order she carried wavered in her grip. No one moved. The hum continued. And the Federation, for the first time in centuries, didn't know how to respond. The tribunal chamber aboard the Remus was stark, cold walls, angular lights, and a silence that judged before any words were spoken. Malik stood in the center, his wrists free, but his future chained to the minds of 3 council representatives watching from projection nodes. Magistrate Niare presided, face unreadable, voice steady. "Captain Malik Osei, do you understand the severity of your actions?" Malik kept his stance firm. "I understand I broke protocol to save a mother and child. If that's treason, then I stand guilty." "Humanitarian acts," Niare said coolly, "do not excuse unauthorized interspecies interaction or broadcasting without clearance." Amara's voice rose from the audience. "Neither does silence justify letting someone die. We're scientists, explorers. Isn't understanding the point of all this?" One of the council's holograms, Ambassador Train, leaned forward. "What you've done, Captain, has altered political dynamics across 3 sectors. A dozen border planets are questioning their own first contact laws." Malik met his gaze. "Maybe they should. Maybe they've needed to for a long time." Train's voice hardened. "And when that uncertainty turns into chaos, when smaller colonies take matters into their own hands?" "They already are," Malik replied. "We just gave them permission to lead with empathy instead of fear." The tribunal chamber buzzed with murmurs. Niare raised a hand. "Enough." Her gaze turned toward Aya, who stood near the back beside Jalen. The child in her arms stirred, reaching a hand toward the light. "This being," she said, "is not registered in our xenobiological archives. Its capacity for manipulation through harmonic interference is unquantified. Its emotional influence is unprecedented." Aya stepped forward. "We did not come to manipulate. We came to remember." The translator struggled, but the emotion behind her voice needed no filter. Her glow deepened. Screens in the room flickered with synchronized pulses, images of Ori cities decayed but proud, blending into the faces of human children watching the transmission back home. Ambassador Train frowned. "How did she gain access to our internal visuals?" Amara turned toward him. "She didn't hack your systems. She resonated with them. The data isn't stolen. It's understood." Niare stood slowly. "Then we are no longer discussing just a humanitarian act. We are discussing the potential of a new form of interspecies communication, a sentient, harmonic exchange." Malik's voice was calm. "Then declare it. Write it down. Stop treating the future like a threat and start recognizing it as a partner." Silence. Then, from the back of the room, a slow, rhythmic tapping. Fingers on metal. Jalen. His face unreadable, he kept the rhythm going. Then Amara joined. A pulse, a beat. The room began to echo with it. Even the ship's systems responded, lights dimming and brightening in slow harmony, the beat of a new language. Aya's child mimicked the sound. A low hum filled the room, warm and slow. Niare looked at Malik. "You forced our hand. You've put the Federation in a position where precedent no longer guides response." Malik nodded. "Then maybe it's time we stop following maps and start listening to what's right." She didn't respond for a long time. Finally, she turned to the council holograms. "Deliberation is required. You'll remain aboard until a decision is reached." Malik relaxed slightly, but not fully. "That's all I ask." As the tribunal recessed, Malik walked back toward Aya. Her eyes met his, soft and unwavering. "You spoke," she said. He smiled. "So did you. Now they must listen." The hum followed them as they left the chamber, not in defiance, not in victory, but in possibility. Malik sat alone in the observation chamber, eyes fixed on the arc of Oshun 4 rising slowly across the viewport. The hum was gone now, leaving behind a stillness that pressed into every breath. For the first time since it all began, the silence felt heavier than noise. Footsteps approached. Amara slid into the seat beside him without a word. They sat in quiet for a few moments before she spoke. Their meeting now, no press, no recordings. Just whispered politics behind thick doors. Malik didn't look at her. They'll make the decision they were always going to make. They just needed the illusion of discussion. Amara studied him. You don't actually believe that? He exhaled. I believe systems don't change without a cost, and we've already paid the first part. There was a long pause before Jalen entered, a data pad in hand. You might want to see this. He handed it to Malik. A message played, short, grainy footage taken from a civilian comm device. It showed a Federation mining vessel pausing operations on a Class C moon after workers refused to continue following a broadcast of Aya's speech. They held signs translated into several languages, all bearing the same words. She sang first. Malik's lips parted. This is spreading. Jalen nodded. Not just miners. Medical ships, educators, even diplomats. People are listening, Malik. You lit a match. Amara added, we don't know if it'll burn down the walls or light the way. Before Malik could respond, the chamber door slid open. Aya entered, the child quiet in her arms. The glow surrounding them had softened since the tribunal, but it still pulsed gently in rhythm with her breath. She approached Malik and sat across from him. They decide now. Yes, he said. They're deciding if I broke their laws or if we broke them open. Aya reached across the space and placed her hand on the table, palm open. Her voice came low and even. We chose to sing. Not because we knew the words, but because we hoped someone would hear. Malik mirrored the gesture. I heard. She inclined her head. And now many listen. Your people may not know how to respond, but that is not same as not hearing. Jalen leaned against the wall. She's right. That message hit people in their bones. You can't unfeel something like that. Amara turned to Malik. They might convict you, strip your title, but they can't erase what happened here. He looked at them all, his crew, his allies, his friends, and then at Aya. Then we keep going. Whatever comes next, we keep going. A chime echoed from the comm panel. Nyare's voice filled the room. Captain Osei, the tribunal is ready to deliver its findings. You are to report to Assembly Hall 1 immediately. Malik stood slowly. He brushed the edge of his Federation badge on the table, then left it there. As they walked toward the hall, Jalen said, You want me to punch anyone if things go sideways? Malik cracked a smile. Let's hold that as Plan B. Amara added, No matter what happens, we witnessed something real. You changed something, Malik. Even if they don't say it. The corridor leading to the tribunal was lined with crew members, some in uniform, others in science robes, some simply civilians. None spoke, but all stood in silence as Malik passed, a quiet rhythm shared between hearts. Aya's hum was faint again, barely audible, more of a breath than a sound, but it was there. Inside the tribunal chamber, the lights dimmed. The council holograms flickered to life, expressions neutral. Nyare stood at the center. This tribunal has reached a conclusion. Malik didn't flinch. He didn't need to. The tribunal chamber was colder than Malik remembered. The walls, the lighting, the stillness, it all pressed in around him like judgment dressed in silence. Nyare stood at the center, robes falling like a blade of protocol. The holographic council flickered behind her, unreadable. Aya stood to Malik's right, her child resting quietly against her chest. Amara and Jalen stood on either side, unmoving, their presence a shield of solidarity. Nyare began. This tribunal recognizes that Captain Malik Osei knowingly violated Federation First Contact Protocol and security regulations. Whispers stirred at the back of the room. Malik's hands stayed at his sides, fingers curled tight. The transmission of an unsanctioned broadcast involving an unregistered alien species constitutes a breach of Article 17, Nyare continued. And yet, the room froze on that word. Nyare glanced toward the child in Aya's arms, then looked back at Malik. This tribunal also acknowledges that Captain Osei's actions resulted in the first non-violent, spontaneous species-wide contact ever recorded without mediation. No violence, no coercion, no loss of life. The murmurs grew louder now. Shock, disbelief, maybe even hope. Nyare raised her voice slightly. We are unprepared for what this moment means. The Federation has no precedent for compassion leading to interstellar harmony. Amara whispered, "Then write one." Nyare stepped forward. "Captain Osei, this tribunal cannot ignore your defiance. However, it also cannot ignore what your defiance made possible. Therefore," Malik held his breath, "you will retain your rank, but your position at Indari Station is hereby terminated. Effective immediately, you are reassigned as Federation liaison to the Ari people, pending their consent." The air left his lungs all at once. Jalen blinked. "Wait, liaison?" Amara grinned. "They just promoted him sideways into history." Nyare continued. "This is not a reward, it is a test." "We are watching, Captain. The whole galaxy is." Ea stepped forward. "We accept him." The translator carried her voice clear, but even without it, the hum in the room deepened, resonant, warm, vast. The lights across the tribunal flickered and dimmed, not from malfunction, but as if responding to a breath larger than technology. Malik turned to her. "You don't owe me anything." She placed her hand gently on his. "We owe you remembering, and remembering must be shared." The council projections vanished one by one. Nyare looked at him once more, but now her expression had changed, less judge, more witness. "You asked what mercy is," she said. "Perhaps this is it." Then she turned and left. The chamber slowly emptied. Officers didn't salute. They didn't cheer, but they nodded, acknowledgement quiet and deep. Jalen slapped Malik's back. "So, Ambassador now." "I didn't ask for this," Malik muttered. "That's exactly why they gave it to you," Amara said. "You lead with your heart, and now they're finally listening." Ea's child reached toward him, touching his uniform. The hum returned, a soft pulse, syncing once again with his heartbeat. He smiled. "Guess I'm part of the song now." "Always were," Ea said. Outside the tribunal, the corridor buzzed with life. News crews hovered in orbit. Civilian traffic doubled overnight. Messages from colonies arrived by the minute. But Malik didn't hear any of it. He stepped to the window and looked down at Oshun 4. The planet pulsed gently, quiet, healing, alive. Behind him, Amara whispered, "You ready for what comes next?" "No," he said, "but I am ready to listen." The future waited in the silence that followed. And in that silence, the song continued. Malik stepped onto Oshun 4 for the first time since the storm. The air was thicker here, warm and spiced with minerals, touched by the quiet rhythms of Ari life just beneath the surface. He felt it in his bones, the same hum, softer now, like the whisper of wind through tall grass. Not loud, not showy, just present. Aya walked beside him, no escort, no translator now, just two beings bound by something no tribunal could classify. Her child clung to her back, peeking out with wide, luminescent eyes. "The ground remembers," she said. Malik glanced down. "What do you mean?" "It remembers pain, fire, mining, poison, but it also remembers what was given." They passed the ruins of what had once been a Federation extraction site. The towers had collapsed long ago, scorched and forgotten. But around them, the land had begun to heal. Vines twisted through the steel. Flowers, thick-petaled, bioluminescent, glowed under the sunless sky. Malik crouched beside one and ran his fingers along its edge. "Your people did this," Ea nodded. "The song helped them remember what this place once was, before hunger, before fear." Behind them, Amara scanned the soil. "Nutrient levels are rising. Radiation has dropped by nearly 60%. This kind of recovery should take decades." "Music isn't just sound," Aya said. "It's memory." "Memory is alive." Malik looked out across the quiet plain. "And now this place remembers mercy." Aya turned to him. "Do your people?" He paused. "Some of us do, more than before. But remembering doesn't always mean changing." Amara stepped forward. "Maybe not, but it starts something. People are asking questions we weren't allowed to ask before, about how we treat what we don't understand, about how we lead, how we listen. Jalen's voice crackled through the comm unit. Y'all need to see this. A few clicks later, a drone descended from above, projecting a hollow stream from orbit. A news report, broadcasted from Earth. Federation temporarily suspends first contact interdiction. New committee for harmonic diplomacy to form. Malik stared at the text for a long moment. How you broke them open, Amara whispered. He shook his head. No, she did. I just listened. Aya watched the screen, unreadable. Then, softly, if your kind is learning to hear, maybe the stars will sing again. They walked in silence after that, up a slow hill where a stone structure now stood. It hadn't been there before, not human, clearly Ari. Inside, circular walls curved toward a domed ceiling etched with luminous symbols. Malik ran his hand across them, feeling each groove pulse faintly beneath his skin. What is this place? Aya smiled. A remembering room. Amara turned slowly. A monument? Aya shook her head. A bridge. So no one forgets the moment we stopped being alone. Malik stood in the center of the chamber. The hum returned, wrapping him like a second skin. Not just his heartbeat this time, all of them. Amara's, Aya's, the child's. Even the wind outside had a rhythm. I don't think we realize how loud silence really is, Malik said. Aya answered, until we fill it with song. He turned to her. You still don't know what they'll decide tomorrow. Earth could revoke the liaison title. Turn this into a quarantine zone again. Then we will wait, she replied, and we will remember, because even if they silence your name, they cannot silence the echo. Malik didn't respond. He didn't need to. The room pulsed once more. Outside, beneath alien skies and golden dust, a garden grew in the place where a starving mother had once fallen. The Federation had maps. But the future was being written in harmony. The wind moved gently across the Oshun plains, brushing against the stone of the remembering room, humming through the hollow of the arches. Malik stood alone beneath the dome, hands at his sides, heart steady. The stars above were beginning to pulse with dawn. A new day. Behind him, footsteps approached. Slow, measured. Amara's voice was soft. They've decided, he didn't turn. And they're not revoking your status. Silence. Amara moved closer. They're forming an entirely new branch under diplomatic command. Harmonic envoys. They want you to lead it. He let the words settle. They want to build something out of this? She smiled. They realize they can't contain it. This is bigger than them now. You showed them another way. Malik turned to face her, the dome's light bathing them both. I didn't do this alone. No. But you chose to feed her. Everything began with that. At the entrance, Jalen appeared with Aya and her child. The little one no longer clung. He walked now, legs wobbly but sure. Aya nodded once. The bridge has roots. Jalen grinned. Y'all really turning this place into the heart of a diplomatic revolution? Malik chuckled. Wouldn't be the first time change started somewhere nobody was looking. They stepped outside together. The landscape had transformed, new growth pushing through dust, Ori settlements blending with former human outposts. The line between what had been and what would be was dissolving. Malik paused on a rise. Below, the first gathering of both species was beginning, a circle of humans and Ori seated on the ground, exchanging gestures, hums and words. No weapons, no podiums, just presence. He whispered, Do you think we're ready? Aya stood beside him. Readiness is not needed, only willingness. Amara looked up. And memory. We have to choose to remember this moment every day. Otherwise, we repeat the old ones. Jalen added, History books will never do it justice. Malik looked at each of them, then at the life growing below. That's why we build the bridge, so they don't have to forget. So when someone asks what changed, what really changed, they'll know it didn't start with speeches or decrees. He knelt, picked up a small rock, and placed it at the edge of the garden, where Aya had first collapsed all those weeks ago. One by one, The others did the same, not to mark territory, but to mark memory. The child giggled, chasing a glowing insect through the air. The sound lifted into the sky like music. Malik watched him for a while. He'll grow up knowing peace was possible because his mother believed a stranger would keep a promise. Aya touched his shoulder, and because that stranger believed she was worth saving. More Ori approached from the ridgelines. Some carried gifts, woven artifacts, glowing seeds. Others brought only themselves. And then, across the ridge, a human shuttle touched down. The Federation seal on its hull shimmered in the sunlight, but this time no soldiers stepped out, no diplomats in robes, just young volunteers, led by a single officer holding no weapon, only a recording device and a translator pad. He bowed to Aya. She bowed in return. The bridge had begun. Malik stepped back, letting the song rise again, not from machines but from people, from memory, from choosing to see each other differently. Maybe this, he said softly, is what first contact was always meant to be. Amara smiled. Not about the stars. About the spaces between them. As the wind carried the harmonies across the planet's edge, Malik looked into the distance, where Earth waited, and beyond it, everything else. He didn't know what came next, but he knew it would begin with a hum, and someone, somewhere, would answer.